This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Top oil exporter Saudi Arabia may cut prices for most of the crude grades it sells to Asia in December, tracking weakness in Middle East benchmark Dubai, trade sources said. Price cuts for Saudi oil would signal weak demand and provide more evidence for the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, led by Saudi Arabia, and its allies including Russia, a group known as OPEC+, to potentially delay plans to increase production from December. The official selling price, OSP, for flagship Arab light crude may fall by 30 to 50 cents a barrel in December from the previous month, a Reuters survey of 6 refining sources showed, in line with a similar drop in Dubai price spreads last month.
Oil prices edged up on Friday on reports Iran was preparing a retaliatory strike on Israel from Iraq in coming days, but record U.S. output weighed on prices. Brent futures were up 29 cents, or 0.4%, to settle at $73.10 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate, WTI, crude gained 23 cents, or 0.3%, to settle at $69.49. At their session highs, both benchmarks were up over $2 a barrel. Brent posted a weekly decline of about 4% with WTI down about 3%. On Thursday, U.S. news website Axios reported that Israeli intelligence suggests that Iran is preparing to attack Israel from Iraq within days, citing 2 unidentified Israeli sources.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Venezuela's oil exports rose to a 4-year high, approaching 950,000 barrels per day in October, boosted by growing crude output and more sales to India and the United States, according to shipping data and documents from state firm PDVSA. The increase happened despite a large storage terminal fire last month, tighter U.S. sanctions since June and the arrest of the country's former oil minister, Pedro Telchia, and former PDVSA executives over corruption allegations. A bounce in crude production, mainly due to the stabilization of processing operations at Venezuela's largest oil region, the Orinoco Belt, has allowed the recovery of heavy crude inventories, the PDVSA documents showed.
Russian energy giant Gazprom's average daily natural gas supplies to Europe in October edged up by 2.5% a year earlier and held broadly steady from September, Reuters calculations showed on Friday. Gazprom's average daily pipeline exports increased to 90.6 million cubic meters, MCM, according to calculations based on data from European Gas Transmission Group ENTSOG and Gazprom's daily reports on gas transit via Ukraine. That was up from 90.2 MCM in September and 88.4 MCM in October 2023. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Dalian iron ore futures posted weekly gains, even as prices hit one-week lows on Friday as investors weighed a softer global demand outlook against better economic data from top consumer China and prospects of further stimulus from Beijing. The most traded January iron ore contract on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange ended daytime trade 1.47% lower at 770 yuan and 50 fen, $108.17, a metric ton. The contract earlier fell to 764 yuan and 50 fen, its weakest since October 25. It gained 0.65% for the week. The benchmark December iron ore on the Singapore Exchange was 1.38% lower at $102.25 a ton, as of 0712 GMT. It rose 2.35% for the week.
Gold demand in India jumped this week amid festival purchases, although volumes were lower than usual due to record high prices. Retail buying jumped as consumers want to make purchases during the auspicious period. But many were making token buys because of higher prices, said a Hyderabad-based jeweler. In India, prices jumped to a record high of 79,775 rupees per 10 grams earlier this week, marking a nearly 33% increase since last year's Diwali.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
European wheat fell in late trade on Friday following a fall on US markets, while traders were still assessing the results of Algeria's tender, during which it is believed to have bought some 600,000 metric tons of the cereal. Benchmark December milling wheat on Paris-based Euronext closed 0.6% lower at €216.75 a metric ton. By the same time, the most traded wheat futures contract WV1 on the Chicago Board of Trade was also 0.6% lower at $5.70 minus 1/2 a bushel. Euronext wheat had been trading sideways earlier in the session, with traders expressing mixed feelings about Algeria's tender.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.